Hey there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a new paper crafting video, only I'm playing with felt today on my card and I'm making a little home decor project. Maybe you remember back to when I made some hearts on a garland. I really wanted to make some Easter eggs using some new products from Trinity stamps, so I pulled out some felt that I thought would be fun colors for Easter, and this die set right here called Bunny Egg Shaker Die, and I'm going to make a basket full of felt Easter eggs with it. So we're going to die cut out the die using felt. Now this die cuts just like paper. It's super easy to do, and I have a variety of felts that I used here, just pulled from my stash. So some are thinner, some are thicker, but it still cuts really well. So give it a try if you haven't done this with felt before, and it's so fun to use on cards, just having a different texture. So I love it, and I love doing just a little bit of stitching. I'm not like an expert at embroidery or cross stitch or anything like that. I just have fun with it. So I cut 4 from each of my 4 colors so I can make a total of 8 eggs, and I wanted to applique a little heart on each of them, so I pulled out this row of hearts die. It's the perfect size and it die cuts 5 hearts, and I only needed to do 1 pass to get a heart for each side of each of my eggs. It was perfect. I am using a little bit of the Crafty Gluefriend. It holds the heart down in place so I can, go back later and stitch it down, but it just holds it there, and it's not as messy as hot glue, and it doesn't leave a bump, and it holds it really well. Next, I am taking my embroidery floss and separating it down the middle. So I only am working with 3 strands. I like this thickness better. And then I'll use a DMC needle and thread that through. Then I'm going to hold the end of the thread in one hand, lay the needle on top of it, and then wrap it around my needle 3 times. Then I can pull my needle through and it creates a knot for me. I love this tip, and ever since I learned it, I use it every time. Okay, so now we're going to stitch on the heart, and I'm just going to do a basic stitch up and down all the way around, and I am using a colored thread. You could use white here. I actually end up using white on my kind of coral colored egg, and it's just fun to mix and match the different colors, and maybe have it match your decor. So there I go, stitching it super fast. And I actually, this one was like the first one I stitched, and I didn't really love how I had the placement of the stitches. Like I said, I'm not a professional, so sometimes the length of my stitches, the spacing of my stitches, they're not exactly perfect, but I did, once I got going, realized I liked 3 stitches on each side of the heart, 3 at the top with 1 going down the center of the heart and then 1 at the point, and that seemed pretty symmetrical, and I liked that the best. So I did that to all of them, and then I'm going to take 2 of the eggs, put them back to back, and start doing a blanket stitch all the way around. So first I just take a little stitch to hide my knot on the inside, and then I'm going to go through both layers, probably about the same spot that I started, and then you want to go through your loop before pulling it tight. So let me show you that again. You can go down from the front if it's easier for you to line it up, or you can come up from the back, either way, but you want to put your needle through your loop before pulling it tight. So it's going to leave the thread going alongside of the project, which I think is just so adorable. I love this stitch. I use it a lot. I recently made my heart garland for it was St. Patrick's Day. I made a little rainbow of hearts that hangs on my stamp room door. I think I'm going to have it out all year round. I love it so much. I did that then, and then I've made some ornaments with felt, and I've done some felt on cards before. So if you're interested in using your dies in a different way like I did here, give felt a try, because you don't have to be an expert at these things to do it. It's just fun. So all right, I left an opening here so I could stuff these. Now I just wanted a little bit of this polyfiber fill. I don't want my egg to be like super fat, just a little puffy. That's the look I was going for. So I'm just poking that in with my finger after I kind of pulled it apart and made it nice and fluffy. And that's just a good practice to get into when you're stuffing things. Otherwise you can kind of have lumps and bumps. So fluff it up and then stuff it in. And then we'll just finish going around with the same blanket stitch to close it up. And it's so cute. I love having the tone on tone thread there, but you could, easily do a different color to make it bright and cheery too. All right, so then I'm just going to take one last stitch and make a little knot, and that will tie it up. Finish it up. I like to snip it off and then kind of sometimes need to tuck that in. You can tuck the knot onto the inside to hide it, and that can be tricky sometimes. Yeah, like that. Okay, so then I just repeated this with all of the eggs and made my little set. I probably should make one more of each color so I have a dozen, but I made 8 and I think they're really super cute. I'm gonna put them in a basket that's wooden that I found at the thrift store a while back. I just love this basket, and then throughout the seasons I can change out what I put in here, so I could definitely fill that up a little bit more. Maybe I could just add some variety with some other like paper mache eggs or something. I don't know. But there they are, and I found some Easter grass in my stash that totally matched the eggs, so loved it. Okay, let's move on to doing felt on a card. So before we get to the felt part, I want to make a background. So I have some speckled aura foil and the vintage tin tile plate from Trinity Stamps that I am hot foiling on some very smooth white cardstock. And I had the plate on my Glimmer hot foil system, then I had my foil pretty side down, and then my paper. And that is going to transfer that foil through heat and pressure as I run it through my die machine onto my paper. And isn't that gorgeous? I mean, what a stunning background. And now I'm going to do the same foil, but use the Big Easter cut and foil set. So this is a 3-piece set. It has a hot foil plate. It also has a shadow die and a die to cut the word Easter, but the shadow die also cuts out your hot foil. So we're going to do that, and I'll show you exactly how I do it. But here you can see the Big Easter cut and foil set. That top one is the shadow layer. So if you're going to die cut the word Easter, you'd want the shadow piece underneath it. But you can use the shadow to die cut it out, except that it is a solid die. So what I did is I die cut out the shadow piece, saved the negative, lined it up with my hot foiled piece, and then I can drop that shadow die right in place. It's going to be perfectly lined up, and you just want to tape it down so it doesn't move while you die cut it. And then you have your word Easter that's been hot foiled also die cut out. So foil first, put the negative piece on top to line up your die, and then die cut it out, and you have the perfectly die cut hot foiled Easter, just like that. Okay, I have the Dainty egg die set. I'm taking the third from the largest die and die cutting that out because it fits this felt egg perfectly, which I learned from one of our designers on the Trinity team, Brenda. Thank you for that. I think it's really cute. So I'm going to use salvaged patina to do like a little bit of a shadow behind my Easter egg bunny. And so I just laid that scalloped egg there so I could get an idea of where I wanted to start inking and how big I needed it to be, and then I can refer back to it, and I needed just a little bit more on the right hand side, so I did that. And then when you do ink blending over the top of hot foiling, some of it will sit on top of the foil, and so you just need to buff that off and it resists it really well. Next, I'm going to lay down the word Easter and my scalloped egg so I can figure out how and where I want to glue all the things to make sure I have room for the word Easter. So the scalloped egg gets glued down first, and that's actually going to be the guide for me to glue down my little felt pieces, which I die cut the rest of the pieces from the bunny egg shaker, the feet, the hands, and the ears from. And I actually ended up cutting the ears twice, so I had little coral pink centers for my ears. All right, so first I'll put on the little legs. You can see they're curved to fit around the shape of the egg. And then I'm going to glue down those ears, and you can see I'm using the Crafty Gluefriend. This works well on felt. It says right on the tube that you can use it with fabric and felt. So I love that, and it's not clumpy and bumpy like a hot foil or a hot glue gun, I mean. And so it works really well for putting felt on a card. So we'll just inlay those coral pink pieces for the ears, and that matches the egg I'm going to put in the center right now. Now here's what happened. I glued this down, and where it overlaps the ears and the feet, it kind of got a little bumpy and just wasn't giving me me the look that I loved. So I actually die cut a second one, and I'm gonna glue that over the top, and it just makes it a little bit thicker, and the bumps from the ears and the feet don't really show up then, and I liked that much better. So then we can add the hands, and I pulled out a heart that I had die cut for the centers of my Easter eggs and had that be in the middle of this egg because it kind of, you know, reminds me of the felt eggs I did for home decor with the heart in the center. So I thought that was really cute and it matched my background really well. So now let's move on to the sentiment. I am using some foam strips from Trinity Stamps. These work really well for popping up your sentiments. Also, for shakers, and I did make shakers out of this bunny egg die set. If you missed those previous videos, I actually have two. One where I made little treat holders to put on the table, and one where I made an Easter treat card. I love both of those projects so much, so I will link those two videos for you at the end of this video, and you can watch them next. And if you want more ideas about using felt with your dies, I'll have those videos in the playlist or the description box for you below, and you can check those out. So I added the word happy to my Easter, which is from the Simply Sentimental Happy stamp set. I don't know if you know, we have a collection of Simply Sentimental stamps at Trinity Stamps, and they're really cool. So I used the happy one on this card. Next, I added some Aquamarine gemstones or rhinestones in the centers of the little flourishes on my background to finish off this shiny card. I love the mix of the shininess of the hot foiling with the softness of the felt. What a fun card to make. I really loved both of these projects, and I just love playing with felt with my dies. I really enjoy it. So hopefully you are inspired to try out your dies with some felt. Even if it's on a card, you're going to love that different and new texture on your card, I think, just as much as I do. So thank you for stopping by and letting me share my creations with you. I will see you guys all again very soon with a new video, so stay tuned. I'll see you then. Happy stamping! Bye!